So you have finally decided to become a content creator this year. Congratulations. Now the next question on your mind probably is, how do I land my first brand partnership? In this video, I'm going to take you through all the different things that I did to start working with brands, even with under 10,000 followers on Instagram. So if that is you, you want to stick around. Years ago, when the influencer industry was still new, there's an unspoken rule that you had to have at least 10,000 followers to work with brands. Thankfully, now that is no longer the case. For instance, I have been working with brands since 2021, and it wasn't until February or March of this year that I finally hit 10,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, now sure, there are still brands that would snub influencers or creators that do not have up to 10,000 followers, but that is no longer the norm. As long as you have people asking you where you got this or how you did that, or sending DMs asking you for information on things that you have shared, you are ready to start monetizing your social media account. So this is a sign for you to start working with brands. Now that we have gotten that out of the way, here are the things that I did to start working with brands. The first thing you want to do is to create your media kit. Now I know you're wondering, what's going to be my media kit if I'm still trying to land my first brand partnership? Simple sample work of things that you have done. Now I expect that by this time you have already been sharing things on your platform, right? Whether it's on Instagram, on YouTube, maybe you're already sharing your favorite products, or you're already sharing your favorite services or things that you love to do or things that you love to use. You're already featuring brands organically in your content, right? So what you want to do is, when you're creating your media kit, you want to put links, right, to those things, whether it was a YouTube video or an Instagram reel or a static post or whatever it was, right? That is what will serve as your portfolio starting out before you start working with brands. That is very important, because even when you start pitching to brands or when brands start reaching out to you, they want to see that you are capable of creating the content even before getting the desired reach and saves and shares and all of that. They want to see, first of all, that you can create the content. So if you're creating high quality videos, taking high quality pictures, all of these would serve as your work or past work done in your media kit. The reason you're doing this now is so that if a brand reaches out to you, you immediately have something to send to them, instead of trying to scramble to design something or put something together and then you're looking unprepared, right? The moment you've decided that you want to start working with brands, you want to create your media kit so that if you're pitching to brands or brands are reaching out to you, you immediately on the spot have something to send to them. Now, there are a lot of takes on what should be in your media kits, especially when it comes to putting your rates or not putting your rates on your media kits. I currently do not have my rates in my media kit, and for some valid, in my opinion, some valid reasons. One is, when a brand reaches out to me, I have no idea what their budget is. I would not want to shortchange myself by sending a rate that is lower than what they usually would pay creators that they work with. Two is, sometimes you have custom deliverables, right? And so all of these things are based on negotiations and all. I do send my rate card, right, when brands ask me specifically to send a rate card. So sometimes maybe an agency is scouting for influencers or creators for a campaign, right? And they have seen your work and they now want to have your rate card so that they know who they work with going forward. Then I send a rate card, right? Or even when I'm pitching to brands, I will send my media kit first. And once I have seen that interest has been piqued, they want to work with me, and we have sort of, started talking about deliverables, I would now send my rate card to say, okay, this is what rates can look like, right, if you decide to work with me. However, there are very important things that should be in your media kit. For instance, you obviously want to talk about your audience, right? So show your audience demographics, whether you have more males than females following you, or whether you have more females than males following you, their age, location, all of these things that matter and are important to brands. You want to have them in your media kit. You also want to have a list of your skills or services, right? So for instance, if you only create UGC, you want to put UGC in your media kit. If you create both UGC and influencer style content, if you do mobile videography, mobile photography, any other thing that you do, you want to list all of those things in your media kit, because your media kit serves as your CV or your resume as a creator. You never can tell where your media kit will land. You want a situation where whoever sees your media kit immediately knows who you are and what you do and can reach out to you based on what is in your media kit, even without meeting you or coming across your platform prior. Of course, something else to include in your media kit is examples of work done. Like I have said, I expect that by now you're already organically sharing things, right? Featuring products and services organically in your post. So you want to put links to some of those posts in your media kit so people can again see the quality of your content before they decide to work with you. And very importantly, contact details. Again, do not assume, right, that whoever sees your media kit already has contact with you. Sometimes agencies will share media kits, or people would share media kits, they're referring creators to other people. You want to have contact details so that whoever sees your media kit can reach out to you independently. Now, after creating your media kit, the next thing you want to do is set your rate. I know this can be very confusing. At the beginning, something that I also struggled with was trying to figure out how much to charge brands, right? And it doesn't help that you go on Google and you search for it and you see different things. And the reason is because there is no one rate for creators, right? Rates are fixed based on a number of factors. Now, I have done a video on setting your rate as a creator or an influencer. I'll leave the link to that video in the description box so that you can check it out after this video if you're interested. But it just takes you on a step-by-step process of how I came up with my rate. Of course, you want to find out what creators in your niche, in your locality, in your region are charging, just so that you know you have a benchmark to work with. But you will have to do your own calculations and your own work to come up with your rate, so that you're not just picking rates and at the end of the day you're not making any profit. Remember, you're taking this as a business and not a hobby. If you're taking it as a hobby, then maybe it doesn't matter that much to you. But if you're taking content creation as a business, then at the end of the day you want to be profitable, right? Because this is your job, this is your business. So when you're setting your rates, right, you want to make sure that you're covering all your bases. So that video will walk you through all these things that I consider, right, before setting my rate or while setting my rate. Now you have created your media kit, you have set your rate, and you have gone ahead to design your rate card after setting your rate. The next thing you want to do is draft a contract. I have been burned so much in the past because I didn't work with contracts. One very, very sad example that comes to mind was the very first time a brand reached out to me to work, and I think that was in 2020, right? So this brand had reached out to me. They are a fintech, they're still in existence, they are a fintech brand, right? And the person that reached out wanted me to create like educational content that they could post on their page. It was UGC. I wasn't required to post it on my own page. It was for their platform. Now, we had gone back and forth on what I'll talk about. Of course, like, you're reaching out to me, you already know the sort of content that I create, right? So you should expect, or you should know the sort of content to expect from me, right? However, I went a step further to share what I was going to talk about before filming the video. I went ahead, I filmed the video. I was so excited. I can't remember how much I charged. I didn't even charge anything, right? I think the brand said they didn't have a budget or something. I was just so happy to work with them that I went ahead without charging a dime. I created the video and I sent the video, and there was this back and forth. The brand rep, said they did not like the video. They wanted me to film something else entirely. I was upset because like I had shared this concept with you even before filming the video and I had no problem with it. But I went ahead, this time I decided to charge for it. How much did I charge? I think I charged like 30,000 naira, 40,000 naira. Ridiculous, right? I charged that, I created the video and I sent to them. It took about a month before I was paid. When I was paid, I think either 10,000 or 20,000 naira. It took another month, after I had followed up and I was paid an additional 10,000 naira. So it took 2 months for me to get 30,000 naira. Until date, I'm saying from 2020 till now, the remaining 10,000 naira was never paid. Now, on the other hand, right, this brand went ahead, they used my video, split my video into 6 different videos and posted all of them on their page. I was so pissed, I was so hurt, but there was really nothing I could do because I did not sign any contracts with them before starting out. So please, I beg you, right? It is very exciting, very exhilarating when a brand reaches out to you to work with you and you're like, oh my God, brands are now discovering me, I'm going to start getting paid. please, I beg you, make sure you sign a contract. Usually established brands that work with creators already have contracts, right? So before you start anything, or before you start going down, before you start anything, ask for a contract to be sent so that you can sign. And please, before signing it, I beg you, read through everything, the fine details. You want to make sure that you are not signing your rights away. You want to make sure that you're not signing your life away, because very funny things are being placed in contracts these days. So please make sure you read carefully. If you need to send to a lawyer to review first before you sign, do that. Now, for small brands, especially here in Lagos, Nigeria, where I'm based, not a lot of small brands work with contracts. They either do not work with a lot of creators or influencers, or even when they do, because they are small, they do not see the need to work with contracts. In such situations, you want to have a contract template ready, so that when you are ready to work with these brands, you can send your contract to them, review and sign. If you don't know where to start from, I have a creator bundle, right, that includes a contract template, a content calendar template, a brand tracker, and a bonus B-roll short ideas list, right? So if you're interested in this creator bundle, you want to check the description box for the link. I would leave it for you to check out. Please note that even when you are purchasing this contract template, look through if you still need to engage a lawyer to be sure that these things or the clauses fairly represent your needs and you are not signing things away. I will do another video, right, for things to spot or look out for in a contract before you sign them, because there's so much craziness going on in the influencer industry that you need to be aware of. So now you've gotten your basis right or set, you've gotten things ready, so you are now convinced that you can work with brands, whether you have 10,000 followers or less. You have created your media kit, you have set your rates and designed or created your rate card, and you now have a draft contract for whenever you are reaching out to brands or brands are reaching out to you. The next thing you want to do is start work. Now, there are different ways that you can do this. You can, one, reach out to people, right, friends, family members who own businesses that you want to work with, because you need to start somewhere. You need to have a portfolio, right, to show to brands when they reach out to you or when you pitch to them, right? So if you have businesses, for instance, some of my first work or jobs were from friends. So I had done one hotel tour through a friend. I had done another short-let apartment ad through a friend, and I had been working, or I had been sharing organically, sharing content and tagging a particular made in Nigeria brand, jewelry and accessories brand that I really genuinely loved. I would tag them on posts, I'll tag them on Insta story. People or my audience or my followers were actually visiting the page to either buy things or check them out, and the brand knew because I was always tagging them. I was on their radar. When they were ready to do a commercial for their brand, guess who they reached out to? Moi. Okay, you're going to have to talk to people that have brands, businesses in niches or industries that you are genuinely interested in working in or with, and create content. But again, remember, you are ready to be paid even if you have 2,000 followers, even if you have 5,000 followers, as long as you know that you have the audience, right, ready for those brands, and you are creating high quality content, you are ready to be paid. So don't let anybody fool you and say, oh, you're just starting out, I can't pay you. If you want to be paid, you can be paid. Now, the second way of starting work is starting with what you have, right? So look around your home or around you. What are those products that you reach for every day or very frequently? What are those services that you enjoy? You want to start organically sharing them in your content. Like I said already, one of the first brands that I worked with was a brand that I used to tag a lot in my content. And when they were finally ready to work with influencers, they reached out to me to create a video ad for their brand. Okay, so people are watching. Whether the brands are engaging or not, they are seeing those tags. Do not be shy to tag them. Do not be shy to tag them. Tag them in your post. Make sure that your content is high quality, whether it's pictures or videos or Insta story or TikTok or YouTube, whatever it is, right? Make sure the content is high quality enough that the brand is tempted to want to ask you to repost. Okay, please do not think that because you have not been paid or you're not being paid yet, you create shabby content. This is your social media platform, right? Or your social media platforms are your resume as a creator, right? So if brands are scouting for influencers or creators and they come on your platforms, they're looking for certain things. Another thing they're looking for is the quality of your content as well as engagement, but the quality of your content truly matters. And the third way of getting to work is pitching to brands. I know preaching to brands gets such a bad rap, and I honestly do not know why, because it has worked so well for me, right? I currently am on a 1-year contract with a brand. That is because I pitched my services to them. I usually like to start out with an Instagram DM for 2 reasons. One, so I can get the right email address. Now, some of these brands have their email addresses in their bio, but sometimes it may be for a different purpose, right? So I want to make sure I'm sending my proposal to an email address that it will not get lost in. I don't want my email to get lost in a sea of emails, maybe in a wrong inbox, maybe the inbox is for something else, or maybe the email is for something else. So one of the reasons I reach out to brands via DM is so that I can get the right email address, and so that they're even a warm lead. They're expecting my email, and when they see my email, it's not looking like, who is this random person sending me an email? That's one. 2 is I want to be sure that they're actually open to working with creators. Sometimes the reason brands would say no is not because they do not like you, it's not because your content is not high quality enough. It's simply because they are not ready to work with creators, or they're currently not working with creators, or they do not have the budget for it. Okay, there are so many reasons. I promise you, it's not always you, right? Sometimes it's them, and that's absolutely okay. So the second thing I like to do, or the second reason I like to reach out via DM first, is to be sure. So if I'm reaching out to a brand and I have noticed that they've not worked with any influencer or creator before, or maybe they have and it has been such a long time, right? One of the things I'll ask in my DM to them is, are you currently open to working with creators, or are you working with influencers, or I have noticed that you're not working with, something along that line, right? So that if yeah, currently not open to working with creators, I don't even put so much energy to sending an email to someone who is not even ready to work with creators, and I end up feeling bad because maybe there was no response or they said no. Okay, so that is why I start with a DM first. Another way to go is to look for these brand reps on LinkedIn. I'm going to be honest, this is not something I'm currently doing. I'm trying to start doing that this year, but the route I usually will go is through the Instagram DM. But I have heard, from circles and from, some conversations that I have joined on Threads and on TikTok, that finding brand rep contact on LinkedIn is gold. Now, while you are doing all of these, right, while you're organically sharing products and services that you currently use and tagging the brands, while you are pitching to brands, please, you also want to make sure that you're engaging with these brands that you plan on pitching to. So whether you're following them and engaging with their posts, please, genuine interactions, genuine connections, right? So that again, you are getting on their radar and it's easy to find you when you're ready to work with creators or influencers. These are my tips. These are the things that I have done or that I am still doing to work with brands, and I thought to share this with you in case you're struggling with something like this. Again, I'm going to link a video on how to set your rates in the description box. In the description box, I also have the creator bundle that I mentioned linked, so be sure to check them out after this video. My name is Uchechi. On this channel, I love to share tips and helpful resources for newbie and growing creators like myself. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe, stay fabulous, stay blessed. Goodbye.